What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Potomac of Thrones, because that's what this show is. It is basically Potomac of Thrones, surviving Potomac. Ain't nobody real friends like that. So let's just talk about the show. This is season 9, episode 1, and what I will say is, Karen and Giselle did not have to tag team Mia like that. It was elite. But they ain't have to whack that lady that hard. It's only episode 1. They didn't even let her get up. But let's get into this review. Y'all know sometimes before we get into the review over here, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And there's a few things I want to talk about, or a few things that honestly caught my eye online. So first up was this post from Ashley, or not really a post, it was posted by Jay's reality blog. So Ashley was doing an interview with Gossip Online, and the interviewer asked Ashley, how does it feel that Candace and Robin are not here? She said pleasantries about both of them, but her statement about Candace is what got the people really talking. So let me read it for you. She said this: I'm so happy for her. When I see the pictures of her with her baby bump, she's beaming and glowing. I do think that if I'd had the opportunity to talk to her during her motherhood journey, our relationship would have taken on a different look. Although they hadn't mended things, Ashley still held love for Candace, emphasizing that while they don't always agree, she valued who Candace was as a person. So it was interesting seeing the different responses to this, because I felt like my feelings towards this statement was in the middle. I saw a lot of people say oh, that was very kind of her to say. I wish they could have we could have seen Ashley and Candace reconcile or see a new form of their relationship. Other people were nah, Ashley is full of it. I wouldn't trust it if I was Candace. I was in the middle where I was well, that was very kind of her to say, but yeah, I don't know if I was Candace, I would trust it. But I do understand that motherhood does change some people, and Ashley even said that in the interview where she was even with me and Monique, once I became a mom and we were able to connect in a different way. I don't know if Ashley was hoping for that to happen, but honestly, it's probably the best thing that Candace is not a part of this show anymore, because the thing about it is Ashley and Candace can get along off the show. It's when they get back on the show and they start filming is when it seems like Ashley switches up on Candace, and Candace is never prepared for it. And then when Candace reacts and it's way bigger than what Ashley can handle, then next thing you know, it get real nasty. But I thought that was kind of nice of her to say. So let's move over to Robin. So Robin posted a statement that got the same amount of mixed reactions. So on the night of the premiere episode, she posted this: congrats RHOP ladies on your premiere night. Best wishes on an amazing season 9. And a lot of people were she only doing that because she's trying to make sure she could be a friend of for season 10. Some people were oh no, that's really sweet of her to encourage the ladies. I don't think it's that bad. I'm just if she is trying to secure a spot for season 10, girl, do what you got to do. I mean, I just saw she opened up her healthcare spot, I think another one. So I'm having multiple incomes is always a bonus. So if she can get back for season 10, maybe it would be best for her. I mean, the only people that she's cool with is Ashley and Giselle. She still got beef with Wendy and Karen, and her and Mia is hit or miss. So, and I mean, we don't know how she would feel about Kiarna for real, or because we didn't see them interact last season, or Stacy, but it might be interesting if she did come back for season 10. So it looks like there was a panel maybe a day or two ago hosted in DC, and it was Dorinda, Karen, Melissa, and Lisa that were a part of the panel. And there was a page by the name of Dustin Cohn. He pretty much summarize the highlights of the night. So I just want to read Karen's part. So he has this: highlights from the Housewives panel in DC. He said Karen accused Mia of being a pathological liar and with no moral compass. He also said Karen accused Mia of being in survival mode to stay on the show and called the newbies special while saying they thinned her patience. I mean, I don't negate the part about Karen saying Mia being a pathological liar and being in survival mode, because you can tell like she is trying to make sure that she stay on this show, and it might work to her advantage. So let's talk about these premiere outfits. I'm not gonna give like harsh I'm not gonna give very, I guess, in-depth critiques on this, other than like everybody looks like they are going to like different events. It's bad. So you got Jacqueline in a jean dress. It looks like she should be at somebody's cookout. Stacy has on like a black dress with like white flowers on it. It looks like she's going to a garden party after dark. Ashley is giving us her best business realness. Jazzy looks good, but this dress is giving very much VMAs. Like, it's not giving hotel premiere party, you know? Then you have Wendy wearing what Giselle basically wore. I think that was season 7's reunion when they were wearing all blue. It's giving leotard. Then you have Mia wearing this pink dress that looks just like the pink dress that she wore for season 8's cast photo. And then Kiarna got on Bermuda shirts in all black. I don't know where they were planning to, like, there should have been a dress code. That's all I got to say. It should have been a dress code. So the last thing I want to talk about is Karen on Watch What Happens Live. Andy asked her how she felt about the women's reaction to her DUI. So let me play that clip for you, because I thought her response was interesting.
We were just talking backstage, and I know you just saw the episode for the first time. And I know it was a rough watch for you. Talk to me about that. What was there something specific? Did it just take you back to that time, or was there anything said that upset you? Or
it took me back to that time, and it's still ongoing. And it just was so painful to watch it because I lived through it, and it was very eerily close to it, except for the deer.
And
no deer.
Did the women, you mean the reenactment?
Yeah, the reenactment.
Got it. And did anything the women said on camera upset you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, I care for these women, and all I wanted them to do was be patient and wait because it's an ongoing case.
Yeah.
But, you know, Ashley saying what she said, and let's be clear, Ashley needs to be concerned about her relationship with alcohol, the way she sucks down the Coronas, I'm just saying.
Okay.
And then, you know, Jacqueline, I don't know Jacqueline like that, so I would never call a friend of. I would call Jizzy.
Okay.
Okay. It's just very painful, and no one, again, it's still going on.
Are the legal issues behind you, or have they been settled?
That's just what I'm saying. It's very painful to listen to that.
Yeah.
You know, and their accusations, are you wishing me harm?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm hoping to win when it all comes out, but I have to respect the law. But when I can speak about it, I plan to be open and transparent, as I always have been.
How has the DUI impacted your drinking or your relationship with alcohol?
Honestly, I can't speak to that because that's part of the case.
Okay.
And I think this is a wonderful platform, but we've got to be careful what we say about people if they've never seen it or witnessed it.
I feel like Karen is about to be giving Jacqueline and Ashley the blues, which I'd be here for. You know, I want to see things. But I will say, after seeing this clip and seeing one of my mutuals, and I'll talk more about it in the review, she's a lawyer, and she spoke about why Karen is probably speaking the way she's speaking about this. It kind of gave me new perspective, and I might be a little nicer to Karen. But we'll see. But let's get into this Potomac of Thrones. If I had to give it a rating, I would say it was a 6. It was solid, okay? It wasn't an F, but it wasn't better than a D. Okay, so a solid 60. There was just something missing. And I really do think it was Candace and Robin. Like, honestly, I loved me some Candace, but I'm happy that she chose herself and her mental health and decided, hey, I don't need this anymore. It's not fulfilling, and it's definitely not making me feel good about myself. Robin, on the other hand, I feel like needed the show financially, but it seems like she's doing really well with her spas and stuff like that. And Candace seems to be enjoying being pregnant. So hopefully they're doing good. But it's just like something was just missing. I'm just going to be honest. I didn't really get excited till the end of the episode with that elite tag team from Karen and Giselle that they did to Mia. Because I was like, ooh, that's said, y'all got her good, okay? She left the table in tears. So yeah, like it just, something was just missing for me, okay? But you could definitely tell that they are trying to breathe, like, not breathe, but breathe new life into Potomac. Like, we got a new intro. They have new, what's it called? What is it called? New, like, where they, because everyone was like grabbing their like dress and whipping it around. New like name tags when they're introduced into a scene, which I really like because it reminds me of like the Wizard of Oz, and like it's like Wizard of Oz surrounded, like the Yellow Brick Road surrounded in like cherry blossoms. I like it. And you know, the new cast photo. So it seems like they are really trying to, like, in that era that we ended with season 8 and go into season 9 with a new vibe. They definitely had to, because this show couldn't sustain itself with the way it was going. The episode officially opens up with a reenactment. Okay, I'm tired of these reenactments. I'm gonna just have to call a thing a thing. Y'all opened up last season with a reenactment. I don't want no more reenactments. Okay, like, I don't know who's obsessed with true crime down at Truly Original, but this ain't it no more. Because honestly, I don't know if I'm supposed to take this seriously, because I was laughing. Because honestly, I was like, why'd y'all put a deer in here? Y'all really trying to drive home the seriousness of this. It's not giving it to me. Honestly, I feel like what would have been more impactful is them actually showing the real pictures, the tree bark that was missing from the tree. Like a huge chunk of tree bark missing, the skid marks of the tread, like the tire treads in the grass near the sidewalk. That to me is a way more like, oh, like we should take this seriously versus y'all doing this reenactment. But it opens up and it says that like around 11:19 p.m. Karen like left her friends or left like her people, and then by 11:50 that's when she got charged with a DUI. So they were like, okay, 1 month later is when they started filming. And I clocked, because when Giselle was at the restaurant and telling Karen like, I want to plan this birthday party for you, I was like, already? Because normally Karen's birthday party is like in the middle of the season, like they celebrate in the middle of the season with like the first cash trip, or it's at the end of the season and it's a part of the cash trip, like the big cash trip. But the fact that they're doing this at the beginning, I was like, oh, so y'all said, oh, we gonna get everything about this DUI. So production said, we picking these cameras right back up. So had Karen not got a DUI, they wouldn't have started filming until probably like next year, giving Potomac like more than like a year to like cool off from season 8. But Karen had to go and get a DUI charge. So here we are. So we see Giselle in the car. She on the phone with Ashley, and she's telling Ashley that like she's gonna go pick up Karen because she realizes that Karen really hasn't been out the house since the whole entire situation. Ashley is like, yeah, I'm just so surprised, and Giselle is like, yeah, when I saw the articles about Karen, I just couldn't believe it, because I'm just like, what's going on? So Ashley is committed to letting us know this is Karen's second DUI. Like, she was like, yeah, especially with this being her second DUI, like, what's going to happen? I said, girl. So Giselle is like, I've known Karen for a while now, and she's like, I just really want to make sure she's okay. So then there's a montage of all the like OGs and the veterans who are part of the show talking about Karen's DUI. You have Mia and Ashley being more of like taking the chastising role of saying like, Mia's like, girl, you're the grand dame. Like, you're Karen Huger. You couldn't buy an Uber or call somebody to come and get you. And then Ashley is just like, this isn't indicative of the Karen that's been presented to me. The mother, the businesswoman, the philanthropist. Like, I can't believe she got this DUI, and especially this being her second time. So then while Ashley's speaking, they do a flashback to 2018 where I guess Karen was saying how she would never do it again. I don't know if that's around the time she got her first DUI, but she was just speaking about how drinking and driving isn't the right thing to do. Same along the lines with Shannon, where Shannon was saying the same thing about like, it's 2000 and something, you shouldn't be getting a DUI, and then lo and behold, they got DUIs. So Wendy and Giselle are kind of on the same page, where Wendy was like, at first when I heard the news, I was shocked, and then I was like, is she okay? And then I was like, why did we make this decision? So Wendy and Giselle are kind of on the, like, they don't seem to be wanting to go at Karen's neck about this. They're not going to like admonish her or anything. But the other two they locked in. Now, I don't know if they're going to be on the same level as Tamara, and I don't think so, but it's going to be interesting. see Giselle pull up to Karen's house and she picks her up. They're in the car. Giselle gonna be messy and be like, are you okay if we ride past the crash site? I said, girl, what? And Karen is like, I would appreciate if we don't do that. And then while they're driving, like 2 deer run across the street, and they were like, okay, that's a sign, we shouldn't go there. So then they pull up to like this mom and pop like restaurant, and it looks like a local diner. They sit down. The manager's name is like Andres, and he's like, you want the Karen special? And so Giselle's like, girl, what the heck is the Karen special? And we find out it's like bacon and eggs and French toast. So Giselle's antennas are already up where she feel like, girl, there's a reason why Karen wanted me to come to this restaurant. So they're sitting down, and Giselle immediately is like, okay, girl, when all the stuff came out about this, I was really worried about you. Like, my heart sank. I don't want nothing to happen to you, Karen. Like, who I'm going to fight with, okay? That's our relationship, but I don't want you gone like that. And so Karen is just like, there's been a lot going on. She was just like, I guess it's like due to my family. So she brings up the passing of her parents. They showed the flashback to the reunion. I think it was like the third season, the season 3 reunion, where both her parents unfortunately passed away within like, I think a year of each other. And then, in 2020 is when Ray and her were having marital issues. So Karen is trying to blame all of that, where she was just like, I don't think I really processed all of that stuff, the issues with my marriage, the issues, dealing with the grief of my parents being lost. And that's all well, and it could be true, because grief is not linear. And I don't know what I would do if I lose both my parents within a year of each other. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but I can't give Karen that much of a pass, because, girl, you're 60. Even if you were younger than that, like, that might be the reason why you were drinking, but that still doesn't make it an excuse why you got behind the wheel of a car. And then all those charges, like, you got charged, like, why is your registration not, like, why you not up to date on your registration? Then they had I think it was like not up to date with registration. There was another one, like all of them were like the same thing, just in different font, like willful and wanting destruction of like persons and property, like excessive speeding, like can't control a car, like. You definitely could have made better decision, girl. Like kind of like Mia says, you're Karen Huger. I definitely think if they would have thought they was getting an Uber from you, somebody would have came and picked you up. Like, I'm also trying to figure out, like, where was Ray? Ray couldn't have came and got you. I thought you had driving service. What happened to Blue Eyes? Why isn't Blue Eyes driving? Y'all not cool no more? Or you had to let him go? So Giselle is just like, so what's happening with it? Like, are you charging with, like, are you still charged with it? Like, what's going on? And Karen was like, you can read. And Giselle's like, hold up. Like, what do you mean by that? And Karen pretty much said, like, she really couldn't speak about it because it's a legal matter. And, like, her lawyers pretty much advised her not to talk about it. Now, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was irritated by that response, especially coming from, like, reviewing and watching Real Housewives of OC and seeing how Shannon has been pretty much upfront with it. But Shannon could not fight her DUI. You guilty. Like, you almost ran your car into somebody's house. Whereas with Karen, I don't think Karen took a field sobriety test or a breathalyzer, and she refused going to the hospital, because we do find out that, like, I think she, like, bruised her rib and her shoulder. And I was watching one of my mutuals, shouts out to her, who is a lawyer, and she was explaining that Karen probably won't be able to really talk about it, because if she did not take those steps, like she didn't get her blood drawn, she didn't do a breathalyzer, she didn't do a field sobriety test, then technically the police don't really have evidence other than like them saying, oh, they found a bottle in the car. But if it wasn't open, then they can't really say that, like, she was drinking and driving. So it's like she can't talk about it. That's why Karen is talking around it. Now, once that was explained, I was like, okay, this gives me new perspective. But I also feel like, cut the crap, Karen. Like, I cut the crap, girl. Honestly, I get it. It's your second offense, and she probably was worried that the charges, or the, what's it called, y'all? The punishment would be a lot bigger than she could handle. But I really feel like, girl, they probably would have gave you just extensive community service and probably did what they did with Justin Timberlake, make a PSA. make a PSA. But Karen was on Watch What Happens Live, and I think I played that in the spicy corner where she was like, once it's over, she's willing to talk about it transparently. But I said, girl, I don't know if people are going to be wanting to hear it once it's over. You know what I mean? So they're sitting at the table. Giselle is still just like, I care about you. I want to be here for you. And Karen was just like, I don't do good taking care of myself. And Giselle was like, that's kind of crazy because you always look put together. And she was like, yeah. So then they move on from that. Before they move on to the next part of their conversation, you then got the manager, Andres, coming up being like, he brings a donut to Karen. And Giselle's like, why are you giving her a donut? And he's like, well, we love her. She's a great customer. And I'll tell you this, she ain't never had a drink here. And then Giselle was just like, do y'all even sell alcohol? And he was like, look behind you. And it's these ladies with these glasses. And she was like, oh, I stand corrected. Then Giselle is in her confessional being like, Karen did this on purpose. This is a setup. I said, girl, I feel like it's a setup too. Because nothing about this establishment gives that they do mimosas for breakfast. Maybe they just started it, but nothing about them gives that. So they then continue the conversation where Giselle is like, oh, since your birthday's coming up, I want to throw you a party, a Hatitude party. And Karen's like, okay, well, can I invite someone? And she was like, Giselle's like, who do you want to invite? She was like, Stacy. She was like, I met Stacy a while ago. I really like her vibe. She used to work on QVC, and they give us like a montage of Stacy being on QVC. So she was like, I really like Stacy. She's back in town, and I want to invite her to the group. So then they start talking about Mia and Ink, because I think Giselle was like, well, have you seen Mia? And like, what's her boyfriend's name? And then Karen was like, I don't know, little Johnny Appleseed or something, because he's so much shorter than Mia. Because Giselle was like, girl, they on a worldwide love affair. And so they show pictures of Ink with the kids at the beach, and, she's all over him. And then Karen brings up how, like, Mia just needs to realize that man is short, because every time they take pictures, she's always standing in the background and he's always in the foreground because he's short. And I'm like, yeah, when y'all do things like that, it makes it noticeable that your man is short. Girl, if you're going to be with him, just accept that he a short king and move on. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, I did not like that her kids was with them. Like, girl, you haven't even got out your first relationship with Gordon. Why are your kids out going on vacation with y'all? I don't like it. But Karen is up saying that, I hope her and the kids are okay, more specifically the kids, because I didn't like how everything went down last season. And Giselle said, me neither. So Karen said, when you figure out how she doing, then come back and tell me. And so they laughed about it, and Let's move over to Mia. So we see Mia, Gordon, and their two youngest kids going to an ice cream parlor. Mia has an older child, but he's from a different relationship, and he's probably old enough to be like, I don't want to be on camera or involved in this mess. So they're like taking the kids to get ice cream, and then also they're like riding their scooters downtown. And so they end up sitting down in this area, and Mia ends up asking the kids, like, how does it feel now that, your dad is in the same apartment complex? So we find out that Gordon has moved into Mia's building, and now the kids are able to see their dad more, as well as like he's there to like help more with co-parenting. Mia says they're in a better place since, 7 months ago when they was arguing in that kitchen. When that man said, when Mia was like, that's not fair, Gordon. Gordon said, if you want fair, go to a circus. That old man was hot. You can always tell when certain old people, especially if they don't cuss, get mad, because they come up with such good comebacks that like sting. But then when you think about it in the context, it's like, it's not that bad, but you're like, dang, why you had to say me like that? He said, if you want fair, go to a circus. And then you be like, what? But then you think about it, like, is the circus really even? That don't make sense, but it kind of stings. So I was like, okay, Gordon. So they're sitting with the kids, and then Mia tells them like, hey, go play and all that stuff. So while Gordon and Mia are talking, Mia just talks about how it's great that Gordon is now in the same building as her, but now it's kind of upsetting because now she can't like have her sneaky links over. And she put an S on it. I said, I thought Ink was your only man, but I guess Mia said, girl, I do what I do, when I do it, how I do it, when I want to do it. I said, I guess, girl. I guess. One thing I will say, Mia and this blonde hair, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I do not like when light-skinned people wear 613 blonde hair. First, it always washes them out. And Mia, and like her features suit better to me with darker hair. Like, I'm just like, girl, if you was going to wear a blonde, you could have wore ash blonde. You got strawberry blonde. You got wheat blonde. Like, there's other blondes than 613. And I need you, whoever did that, they don't like you. Because I'd have been like, girl, let's put a little honey blonde. She probably would look really pretty with honey blonde hair. But not this 316 mess with the ends bumped up. I don't like it, Mia. So they're sitting there, and Mia ends up being like, do you think, like, she was like, we worked really hard on our marriage. I gave you everything, Gordon. And Gordon said, girl, you ain't give enough. You gave a lot. And she was like, you don't think I gave everything? And he was like, no. He was like, I will say that I was mean to you and I was wrong for that, but you ain't give everything. He said, where you messed up is like, we separated, but you jumped right into a relationship. There was no real like separation. And Mia's like, so you don't want me to be happy? Like, I'm like, just because we like, and Gordon's like, no, I just think you could have handled this a better way than jumping into the arms of another man. And I said, you right about that. So then Mia talks about like them co-parenting, and she says like, you have expressed that you don't want Jeremiah to get his hair cut without you or any other man, like without you. And he's like, yeah, but she was like, what about Ink? And Gordon's like, that's not his daddy. And Mia's like, that's part of co-parent. I said, no, it's not. It's not. If I tell you I don't want that man taking my son to go get his hair cut, then that man now's taking my son to go get his hair cut. That's my son. That's what we do for bonding. Like, that's not your husband. That's just the new man you decided to lay down with, Mia. So that didn't even make sense that you were like, well, that's not fair. It is quite fair, Mia. It's quite fair that man said, no, I don't want that other man around my child. You what? So then they start, Gordon was like, yeah, I don't want him around my child. So then they talk about, I think Mia was like, Ink is coming into town, and he wants to get a paternity test done. And Gordon's like, we not doing that. But then they do a flashback to the reunion that happened 5 months ago, where Mia blatantly said that like Jeremiah is Gordon's son. So now, why all of a sudden is this like an issue now? And see, and this is where I'm like, I agree with Karen and Giselle at the end, because it's like, why are you putting this out here? Like, this is not fodder that we need. Like, this is not entertaining. Like, I feel like Mia's story could have been entertaining without adding who the baby daddy. Like, it could have just been you trying to figure out how to bling your new family now that you are with Ink and Gordon and figure out how to co-parent. Not, okay, who's Jeremiah's daddy? And honestly, after watching Love After Lockup and seeing how easy it is for you to order a DNA test, swab somebody's mouth, and then head to the local, like, lab in the neighborhood, like, if y'all really wanted to know, you could have did that. Mia could have did that. She could have swabbed Jeremiah's mouth, Ink could have swabbed his mouth, and y'all could have did that behind Gordon's back if it was really that much of a pressing issue. So I really don't like this storyline, honestly, because I don't think it's fair to the child. Especially, it'd be different if we didn't know what Jeremiah looked like. Like, his face is plastered everywhere. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, you should have did something different. So then Gordon is like, he doesn't want to take the paternity test. He was like, I know who my son is, just like he knows who his dad is. And Mia's like, I think it's unfair. Like, you don't think he's going to wonder who his dad is, like, once he sees all of this? And Gordon's like, well, I'm his daddy. And are you really, and then he's like, are you really okay if we find out that I'm not the father? And Mia kind of had this look on her face like, maybe, maybe not. And then I think Gordon also was like, I don't even think Ink is taking into consideration like what he's trying to do. But I do remember Mia saying something to the effect of like, Gordon knew like that it was a possibility that Jeremiah wasn't his child and he was okay with it. So I'm like, if he's okay with it, why does, like, I don't like this storyline. I don't like this storyline. It's ghetto. It's ghetto, and it's given very much like Love and Hip Hop, and I don't like it. So next is Ashley. When I tell you I'm so over Ashley in this stupid divorce storyline, like, she has been divorcing Michael for the past 3 seasons, and now all of a sudden you ready. It never has an ending. Like, I'm just so irritated that she's still here. Like, I don't know what kind of black male or who she friends with down at Truly Original or Bravo. But I need them to grow a backbone and let her go because she gives us nothing. It'd be totally different if Ashley was season 1 through 4 type of Ashley type of energy. But Ashley after season 5, she don't do nothing. Except get into other people's drama. And then we talk about this stupid divorce storyline it's stupid. Either divorce the man or not. You told us back in I think it was season 7, that you were going to file the paperwork. Because we know in Virginia, you have to at least be separated for a year without, no physical interaction. But yet, it's almost been 3 or 4 years since you've done that. So what's up? Do you want to leave the man or not? But I think the only reason why Ashley can't, I won't say can't or doesn't want to leave that man is because she not getting nothing. She was dumb enough to sign a prenup without really looking at what she wasn't getting or what she was getting if she divorced Michael. And here we are. Because all she said she wanted was a house. When I'm like, girl, if anything, you could have just did like everybody else and moved farther out in Northern Virginia or Maryland and got you a cute little townhome and called it a day. But no, you wanted that Airbnb lookalike house that she get on my nerves. She get on my nerves, bro. She just gets on my nerves. So we see her walk into the attorney's office. We meet the attorney. She's talking about she's finally ready to hop on a dick and do a full split and sold her oats now. And she's hoping that Michael agrees that she wants primary custody of the kids, and she wants her kids to stay home, because in Ashley's mind, if she has primary custody and she makes it where Michael has to come to the house, then Michael can't do anything with that house, because remember, he's the one that helped her get that house. And I think his name is on the paperwork. Dummy. She dumb. Also, I need Ashley to get an actual natural hairstylist to do something with her head. Because why was it on top of your head like that? Why? Was there clip-ins and you just boofed them up? Ashley don't never know what to do with her hair. On top of that confessional look, that black, no, I don't even like that blue, but I definitely don't like that black. That wig, that wet looking wig, I don't like it. I do not know why women like that style. I don't like it. And comparing that short wig to what Karen had in the blue, girl, I need Ashley to get a stylist and a black hairdresser. That's what I need from her. Because every year, there has never been a confessional that I have truly really gone out for Ashley. And we in season 9. Even Giselle has had maybe 1 or 2 confessionals where I was like, ooh, she looks pretty as hell right there. Ashley, I can't name one. I can't, and it's season 9. 9 years and you ain't giving me nothing. We then move over to Wendy. Wendy is basically sending her resignation letter to Johns Hopkins because she no longer wants to be a lawyer. She wants to go into her 40s, being the new and fresh and free Wendy. So we see Eddie pull up. I like that he was showcasing Happy Eddie. Do your marketing, sir. And she's telling Eddie she doesn't know who she's going to like what to do. She just is for so long, I've been a professor, and now that's a part of my life that I'm letting go because it no longer fulfills me, which there's nothing wrong with that. I do hope this season we see Wendy actually find herself, because it does seem like every season she's throwing stuff at the wall, hoping that it would stick and it will fulfill her in some way, when honestly, fulfillment comes from inner workings. So you got to figure that out. Now, they do a montage of Wendy, which, she was proud not being Dr. Wendy in her 4 degrees. And when she told Ashley, you address me as Dr. Wendy, I loved that Wendy during season 5. I know everybody else was annoyed and hated that she always was throwing her degrees in people's faces, but I would do the same thing. Bitch, if you ain't been through what I've been through to get them degrees, the therapy, the anxiety, the stress, the depression, I'm going to rep them degrees like a gang sign, because I went through the ringer to get them, especially a PhD. Girl, you can kiss my ass if you don't like it. Okay? Because I bled for that. I gave a piece of myself for that. So I was never bothered with Wendy doing that. Especially when I've watched all the other housewives and the girls be throwing money in people's faces as a status symbol. You can throw education in people's faces as a status symbol. And the people that I felt didn't like it were more so people who have never really went to college or been through that struggle. And I'm not saying if you didn't go to college, people should belittle you or talk down to you. I am not saying that. Not saying that, but I do not think it's fair to condemn somebody or make them feel bad that they are extremely proud and boastful about the things that they have accomplished. Because a lot of people that had issues, in my opinion, with Wendy and her 4 degrees were people who just were intimidated by the fact that she kept saying it and that they didn't have that stuff. Like, and is it condescending? Yes. But like, if these broads can get over here and talk about how much money they get for laying on their back and sleeping with these married men, she can hold up a plaque with her degree saying, "What's up?" If I don't get mad about Susie Q saying, "Girl, I got him when he was 85. Here we are now," then I'm not going to be mad about Wendy and her 4 degrees. I'm just not. So we see her send her resignation letter. Eddie is really supportive and happy for her. Honestly, I think this was just a reenactment because I'm like, girl, I know for a fact you just didn't sit there and type that up. I hope you put a header and all that other stuff to make it real pristine and pretty before you sent it off. Don't burn your bridges with Johns Hopkins. You always want them to call you back for speaking engagements, or if you need a little coin to like host a little like summer class, okay? That's how some of the teachers told me how they get their coin. Because I said, okay, do what you got to do, lady. So she's worried about her mom because, you know, in her like relationship with her mom really pushed her to be a teacher, to get the PhD. So she's just like, I'm happy that I did it, but now I got to worry about what my mom's reaction is going to be. I actually did like this confessional, this yellow confessional of Wendy. I like it more than the blue. This looks really pretty on her, and I loved all like the butterflies and everything, and the butterfly like band in her hair. Really cute. Happy for Wendy. I hope we see her find herself. Get this scene with Karen going to go kick it with her friend Vivian. So Vivian owns a boutique. Karen was trying to shade Vivian in the confessional, talking about, you know, me and Vivian been friends for years. Like, we met and we talked about our businesses, what we would be like after like having our kids. And now she has a boutique in the local mall. I said, girl, because when I looked up the mall, it's a nice mall. It's like, is it like a Tyson's? No, but it's still a nice mall. It's no Manassas Mall. Like, it kind of reminds me of like they're like a Potomac Mills. Like that's, I think that's in Woodbridge. I ain't been back home in a minute, but I think that's in Woodbridge. And it's like a really big mall that has like a David Buster's, like Cheesecake Factory, the AMC Theater, and I think like several other like big name restaurants attached to it. So it's still a nice mall. So I was like, Karen, shut up. Because where is Ladam? I mean, I get it. I think it's Ladam still in Bloomingdale's, the perfume and everything. That's cute. But Bloomingdale's is still a part of like malls, okay? I don't think I've seen a standalone Bloomingdale's. So your stuff is at the mall too. If it's in Nordstrom, at the mall. Neiman Marcus, at the mall. You know, Macy's, mall. JCPenney's, mall. Like, Dillard's, mall. Belk, a mall. Like, if it's a major department store where they're selling your stuff, it's at the mall. So what you trying to say, girl? Everything's at the mall. So while they're in there, Karen tells Vivian, hey, I need an outfit for my party, because Vivian's boutique is like ball gowns for like weddings and proms and like red carpet events and like galas and stuff. And so while they're looking at stuff, next thing you know, we see Stacy. We finally meet Stacy. Stacy looks like Kenya to me. And like, I think Kenya is pretty and I think Stacy is pretty, but like, they don't look identical, but Stacy looks like early Kenya, like season 5 Kenya to me. And she definitely, like, they definitely could be cousins. Like, they look like they live in the same family. It's cute. I was like, oh my gosh, she looked like Kenya. But Stacy pulls up, especially when one of the outfits that she wore when she came out, it gave very pageant. And I was like, yo, she looked just like Kenya to me. So we see Vivian and Stacy hug. Karen ends up letting us know, or I think Stacy lets us know, that the way that Karen and Stacy got acquainted with each other is through Vivian. So they're really excited. Vivian is like asking Stacy, like, so what you doing here, girl? And she was like, I need an outfit for a red carpet event. And so Karen is like, okay, cool. Like, we can help you out. So we find out that Vivian used to live in Philly and now she lives in the Potomac area. So then Karen tells Vivian, like, did you get my text about the video? She said, girl, yeah. I was like, what was that video? So we see Giselle made a video invitation for Karen's Hatitude party with Karen's, like, a huge cutout of Karen. I think that cutout is from Karen's like 58th birthday or something like that, when Beyonce was all the rage, when she was doing Formation. I see it, I want it. So So Karen is just like, yeah. And Stacey is like, what was that though? She said, that's Giselle. Now she was like, I'm a little worried if Giselle's going to do my birthday correctly. And then they do a flashback to like 2016 when Giselle hosted Karen's birthday party. And she was sitting in the center of the booth when that's supposed to be for the birthday girl. And so Karen was just like, she's just in my seat. Okay, she's in my seat. So Stacey comes out in this really pretty ball gown. And she was like, okay, this isn't it, but she looks lovely. And then she goes back into there to change. So then Karen was like, did you notice she didn't have her ring on her finger? And Vivian was like, yeah, girl, I did notice. Now, I feel like this was a staged moment, but I don't know. Because the way Stacey reacted, I said, ooh, Stacey. And Karen was like, did you see it? So then Stacey comes out. Vivian gonna immediately like hold her hands. And she's like, Stacey, where your ring? I said, no, y'all ain't gonna say how you been, what's going on with you and your husband, just where's your ring? And so Stacey's like, well, guys, I've been separated for a year and that's why I'm back in Potomac. Karen was like, for real? For real? So we find out that Stacey and her husband, they met on a flight. He was like this German businessman. He saw her, asked her like, hey, is this seat taken? He wanted to sit by a pretty lady. And she was like, the rest was history. Now we're getting a divorce. And she was just like, she's doing what she feels is best for her and her daughter. And I think the daughter's name is Aubriella. She's 8 years old, cute little girl. And so Stacey comes out finally in this red outfit, which I thought was cute. They start toasting to champagne. This is why I don't think this was planned, because some people were saying, I think this was a plan to ask Stacey, where's her ring? And that might be so, but Stacey's response to Karen was funny because she said, you know what, Karen, oh my gosh. I just, are you okay if we drink in front of you while she's holding her champagne flute? And Karen is like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, like, what happened? And she was like, girl, I'm not drinking because I take medication. And I said, ooh, Stacey. Ooh. I said, Stacey might be a calculated type of lady. I kind of like it. Because she hit Karen back with, oh, so you going to ask me about my love life and my marriage? Let's ask why you not drinking. And is it disrespectful if we not drinking is it disrespectful if we drinking in front of you? Miss Karen Hugert will be all up in my business. I'm going to be all up in yours. I laughed. I said, okay, Stacey, I kind of like you. I kind of like attitude party. And honestly, I feel like they could have came up with a better concept, but I'm going to let it go. So Giselle got these custom hats made by a designer, and each hat has a specific meaning and a name to it. And it's supposed to represent each lady in the group. Then they also have like other hats scattered around the establishment. We see Giselle get there first and they're setting up. The area looked really nice. Gave kind of like a tea party type of vibe with all like the pink and red flowers and all of that stuff. And we see Ashley get there. Hated her wig. When I tell you I hated that wig, I said, girl, it's giving very much synthetic and not in a good way. Because I've had some good synthetic wigs. I got a box full of them, okay? The girls on YouTube have taught me how to keep a synthetic wig for at least a good year before you got to buy a new one. But girl, that wig was not giving outre or outre. I call it outre, sensational, or Bobby Boss. Because them the three, them the holy grails. Okay, I stick to them. Okay, but I'm just kind of like, girl, that was giving very much Vivica Fox's wigs, and Vivica's wigs ain't never. It wasn't giving Janet Collection, because Janet Collection do be having some cute colored wigs. It's just, girl, I just hated that wig on Ashley's head. But we see that Ashley bought like a care box. It has like a huge water bottle in there. And then she was like, ooh, I put the Uber cards in here. I said, ooh. They not going to let Karen leave this down. They not. And then Giselle was like, ooh, I was going to do that too. But like, I didn't really have time to. And then Ashley was like, oh, and I also put this how to make a birdhouse in it because, she need to do something else other than drinking. I said, dang, y'all. So then Ashley asked Giselle, like, how was her talk with Karen? And Giselle is like, it went okay. But when I asked her about the situation, she was like, it's legal. And she told me to read the paper. And then she also explained to me that she's going through it with her and Ray and grief. And Ashley's like, oh, okay. Collecting information. We then see Jacqueline pull up. She looked nice. And then we meet Jazzy, the new girl who is being introduced to us by way of Mia. And it kind of, at first, Jacqueline was kind of giving the vibe that she wasn't gonna vibe with the girl because she kept looking at her like with like squinting eyes, like, oh, who is this girl and why is she being introduced by Mia? But Jazzy seems cool. Then they have like a moment where they get up and like hug, and Jazzy said, Mia told me how you feel about her, so don't bring the claws out. And she's like, no, girl, and they hug. And so they sit down at the table. While they're sitting down, you then see Wendy pull up. And Wendy was like, I was happy that Giselle invited me to this. I don't really think it's an olive branch because we really need to have a sit down and a full conversation as to what's going on between, like, all the stuff that has transpired between us. But it was nice for her to invite me. So she comes, she sits down, and then they get a little bit more tea about Jazzy. So Jazzy's boyfriend's name is Darius Harris. He used to play for the, are they the Cincinnati Chiefs? Or am I making that up? I just know Travis Kelce and that Patrick Mahomes dude. That's who play on that team. And I know they won the Super Bowl this year. But he has like 3 rings. I heard somebody say that like online that he doesn't play for them anymore, as if now he plays for Dallas. But that's her boyfriend. We find out that Jazzy also used to like live in DC, but because she was an international flight attendant, she really didn't have time to like stay in DC and see what it had to offer. But now her and Darius have bought a home. She is happy to like explore and figure things out. She did not get a flute. It was between Jazzy and Kiarna of who was going to get a flute, and Kiarna beat Jazzy out of a flute. But I wonder if it's going to be because Jazzy, it might be able to be on that new show that Bravo is trying to market, which is supposed to be like a WAGs show based off of the Chiefs. Let me see if I got that right in my notes. Yeah, it said, oh, they Kansas City. Where'd I get Cincinnati from? But it said Bravo Network is filming a reality show about the Kansas City Chief Wags. So I guess but I don't know if she can be on it if he now plays for Dallas. That wouldn't make sense. But I wonder if Jazzy's going to come back. I wonder if she's going to come back. So they're sitting down and everyone's kind of like waiting for Karen. Some people are like, Giselle is asking them like, has anybody like talked to Karen? And Mia's like, no, I ain't talked to Karen. And then Jacqueline was like, yeah, we had a call. And then immediately Mia was like, well, you told me she was tipsy on the phone call. So then Ashley gets excited. She's like, ooh. But you can tell that, Giselle wasn't happy because Giselle had his face like, why are you even bringing this up like this? So then they were like, was she drunk? And then Wendy was like, I don't want no parts of this conversation. And so Jacqueline is like, I don't know if she was, because she immediately was like, Mia, I told you, girl, why would you say that? Well, she said, girl. So then Jacqueline was like, I don't know if she was drunk. It just didn't seem like a coherent Karen to me. But she said, ultimately, I don't know if she was. So while they're having this conversation, next thing you know, you see Karen pull up and Vivian and Stacey come in before Karen, and then Karen follows behind them. We find out that Wendy and Stacey somewhat know each other because they were on a board together back in 2018. So, Wendy's like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's cool to see Stacey again. And everyone knows Vivian because she's been around the group beforehand. So they all sit down and we find out that Giselle has like signature drinks for everyone. So they have 61, Surrey County, and then the Grand Dame non-alcoholic. And so Karen was like, girl, what? I said, girl. And Karen said, it's Giselle. She can't help herself to be messy. I ain't even came in the door and she already being messy. Just messy. I said, yeah, that's messy. And so Giselle was like, the Grand Dame is what Karen portrays to us. Very pulled up, very staunch. But girl, it needs to be non-alcoholic. Girls are getting situated at the table. Giselle starts talking to Stacey, where we find out that Stacey and Giselle kind of know each other too. They had like an event that they went to together back in the day. But Stacey was like, I'm happy to be back. Like, my baby's happy. And then we find out that when Stacey and Wendy met, in 2018, Wendy was pregnant with her daughter, and Wendy's like, now she's 5 and telling me she don't like my bob. And I said, well, and Stacey was like, we like our daughters to be honest, but you look good though. Mia was like, yeah, girl, you look good with the bob. Now, one thing I will say is Stacey's makeup is, I don't know, because Stacey's hand looks darker than her face, and I was like, I don't know if it's just like she's painting for like QVC, because you know those camera, like you have to paint a certain way for like cameras. I learned that from RuPaul's Drag Race, because the girls would always say the way you paint when you're doing a show to like collect tips and money in it is not how you can paint for a TV because of the lights and the cameras. So maybe it's like Stacey will get her makeup together, because I was like, Stacey, why is your hand darker than your face? Like I don't know, sis. I don't know. So they're sitting down at the table, and then Giselle gives like what the rules and everything is. So she's like, I got these custom hats. They all have names, and the designer named all of them. But then I also have other hats around here. So there's like a taco hat, a hard hat, a banana hat for anybody who wants to have an attitude, because this is a gratitude. I know this is a hatitude party, not an attitude party. So everyone's like, okay, girl, we got it. So the first hat that Giselle gives Karen is called Hollywood. It was nice. It was like white at the top, and then underneath the brim is red. I could see Karen wearing that. So as they're sitting there, Giselle tells Karen, you know, some of the ladies wanted to talk to me, or they were questioning me about the talk that I had with you, and I didn't know what to say, so I wanted you to answer them. And so Karen was like, yeah, ask me the questions. So then Jacqueline off rip was being messy. She said, you know, Karen, I'm happy, I'm blessed that you're here. I'm blessed that nobody got killed or nobody got harmed. And you can see Karen looking at Jacqueline like know your place, little girl. Because she looked at Jacqueline like, well, where are we going with this? And then she was like, and nobody can judge. And then Stacey, I think, chimes in and was like, who are we to judge her? Like, why are we judging? And so everyone was like, we are not judging, but we just have questions. So that's when Karen was like, honestly, no, you can have questions. But right now, I need to know who's my friend or not. Who's going to be a soldier for Karen Huger? I don't got time for fake ass bitches. I said, Karen, what? Even Mia was in her confessional being like, that's kind of gangster of Karen, Miss Grand Dame of Potomac. My thing about it is you are allowed to ask your friends questions. You are. So if they have questions as to like what happened that night, if you don't want them to continuously ask you those same questions over and over, you might as well just be honest and just tell them what happened. So I was just like, okay, Karen, I know you feeling your zhuzh right now and you want the girls to get up off you, but they can ask you questions. What I didn't understand is why the camera panned to the man in the back, because he was even like, I said, who is this man? Why did you, like, what? I can't. But then Karen continued by saying, be very mindful of how low you go. And I think that was a warning to like Mia and Jacqueline to be like, especially to Mia, to be like, girl, be mindful of how low you can go, because I can go lower. So don't play with me. Don't play with me. Because honestly, really, Jacqueline and Mia were the one that were pushing it. Because that's why I didn't feel bad for Mia at the end. Because you started off messy. When Giselle asked, like, has anyone else have spoken to Karen or has spoken to Karen? You were like, no. And then you were like, well, Jacqueline has spoken to her. And Jacqueline was like, yeah, I've spoken to her. And then Mia was like, and you said she was tipsy on the phone or she was drunk on the phone. And then that's when Jacqueline was like, Mia. So you already started off messy. And then it just like the karma just came back quicker than you expected. Just a little bit quicker than you expected. So then Ashley says this is reminiscent of Karen that she's known before, and they flash back to 2018 when Ray was in them legal issues, when Ashley's just like where Karen deflects and she doesn't, cop to anything. But honestly, I don't know if I can really fault Karen, because she could go to jail. I said, Ashley, I don't think it's that serious. That's the thing. Like, it is serious. It is serious, but I feel like they trying to make it really serious, okay? Especially Ashley. Ashley want everyone to know that this is Karen's second DUI, and there's a potential that she may go to the prison. So the next hat that is given out is the cowgirl hat for Ashley, because she hosted them doing chicken shit bingo last season in Texas. I said, girl, I wouldn't want to be remembered for that. They then start talking about GNA now that they changed GNA to GNA infusion or fusion. I'm with Wendy. What does this mean? Because even the fashions that we saw last season, they never put them on their website. They actually show you the website, and the website is just still beanies, tube socks, and t-shirts for $35. So what is this supposed to be? I think it's supposed to be like a wellness group that is in remembrance of her father. But I'm like, if it's going to be in remembrance of your father, I hope you take it a lot more seriously than y'all did, because y'all compare GNA or try to compare GNA to like Lululemon and like Fenty. But I'm like, Lululemon out here selling leggings for like $100. Like, and it's supposed to be like of quality. Like Fenty, you could get sets for like $100. So it's just kind of like, what was y'all doing? It's not making sense. So then the next hat that's given is to Mia, and it's called the King hat. And Giselle's like, since you out here pimping these men, here you go. And they even tilted to the side, and everyone's like, girl, what? So then Giselle's like, so how are you in the DJ? And Mia's like, he's a radio personality. I was like, is there really a big difference, girl? It's okay. And so Jacqueline's like, had her hair, she was like, and he's not a rapper. I said, okay, girl, we get it. He's not a rapper, Miss Jacqueline. He's not a rapper. So then Giselle asks Mia, well, have you shared ink with Jacqueline? And everybody at the table said, when I tell y'all I choked, I said, ooh. I said, I started giggling hard as hell because I said, oh, that's rude, but I like it. Because Stacey was sitting there like, girl, what? Y'all, Stacey was like, y'all sharing people? And Jacqueline's reaction kind of made me feel like maybe they have. Or because she was smirking. She was like, but then Mia was like, no, Ink don't play about me. So I don't know if Jacqueline has told Mia like she wants to, or Ink has said he wants. I don't know. But Jacqueline's reaction was not what I expected. So I was just like, girl, what is that? What is that? So like I said, Mia said, Ink don't play about me. He not into that stuff. But they do show a flashback of when Mia let everybody know during season 7 that her and Jacqueline slept with the same guy, because Mia said, oh, you can sleep with my boyfriend if you want to. So girl, it's a question. It's a good question. So then as they're like sitting at the table, Karen asks Mia, like, are we going to get to see G? And Mia's like, yeah, you're going to get to see him. Like, G needs us right now. Like, he really needs us. Gordon really needs us right now. You know, and he needs Ink right now because Gordon lives in the same place as we do. And one day he came over, left his clothes, and we washed his clothes, and me and Ink folded his clothes. And so Giselle's like, girl, you let that man fold that other man's clothes? Wendy is like, I'm confused. So then, I think Jacqueline either said, Mia is very happy with Ink. Like, I can attest to that. And honestly, her relationship with Gordon was a business transaction. And so everyone's like, girl, a business transaction. So then Stacey was like, well, how long were you married? And Mia's like 11 years. And so Karen is like, girl, really, was it really a business transaction? And Giselle was like, yeah, 11 years is a long business transaction. And then Karen was like, you also had kids with him, Mia. But then I'm like, but those are business transactions. Like, there are a bunch of marriages where it is a business transaction, where they go into it saying, this is how long we gonna be together. This is what you getting out of it. This is what I'm getting out of it. I call cap on Mia. I think if Gordon still had money, she would still be around and still be with him. It's the fact that he no longer has money that she's not willing to put up with, I guess, his bad behavior, or like anything now that he doesn't have the money to like cushion their issues that they had in their marriage. So like, Stacey is just kind of thrown off the whole time. She just got the face of like, girl, it's a lot going on. And I feel like Jacqueline set Mia up, because I was like, girl, why would you say that their marriage was a business transaction when the first time you met, you were like, girl, I love Gordon, all over him, saying how good Gordon was for Mia. Like, it's giving very much, Jacqueline, you do whatever Mia tells you to do, sis. And so next thing you know, Karen is like, you know, Mia, I really wanted to press this issue with you, or I just wanted to talk to you. I did not like how the paternity, no, what was it? Oh, I think she said she did not like how Gordon put out there that the kids saw her sleeping in bed with Ink. And they flashed back to the argument that Gordon and Mia had 7 months ago, where Gordon was like, you've been messing around with him. I know you've been having an affair for the past 10 years. You've been like Jeremiah or one of the kids said that they saw mommy in bed with ink. And Karen was like, I did not like that. I feel like there was a way that y'all could handle that, because now that's plastered over everywhere. And so Mia's like, how is that my fault? Gordon's the one that put that out there. And Giselle was like, yeah, Mia, but it's not like you protected your kids. Like, you really didn't do a good job of protecting your kids. Like I said, Giselle was like, yeah, Mia, it's not like you did a good job protecting your kids. And so Wendy kind of has a face like, whoa, I think we going a little too far right about now. I think we need to back up for a minute. And Giselle's just like, no, like you didn't. Like, you did not do a good job separating your children. Like, the dad's out, then you move this guy right on in, and you expect things to go smoothly. And so Mia starts to get emotional, where she was like, I was struggling. I did everything in my marriage. And she knows, and she points to Jacqueline, she knows what I went through. And then what do y'all want me to do? Stay in a marriage where I'm not happy? And Karen's like, Mia, that is not what we're telling you to do. What we're saying is you did not do a great job with the transitioning of like introducing this new man into your kids' lives. So then Mia's like, how is that my fault? Again, she was like, Gordon is the one that put it out there. And she was like, my kids are okay. They're like on the spelling bee, they're on traveling basketball teams, their grades have never been better. Like, how dare you, Giselle, say I didn't protect my kids? So both Giselle and Karen are just looking at her like, we're not saying, like, they're just like, well, you didn't do it. And so Mia's like, I can't do this. I can't do this. So so Giselle is like, Mia, sit down. She's like, no. And then she gets up and goes to the bathroom. Jacqueline rushes behind her. So does Jazzy. And she was like, how dare they? They don't know what I've been through. And then production tries to go in the bathroom with her. But then she shuts the door. She was like, I don't want y'all in here right now. And that's where the episode ended. When I tell you, Giselle and Karen tag team Mia like a mother, because I did not expect Giselle to come up and be like, well, no, Mia, you didn't really protect your kids. And honestly, I'm not even tripping off of that. Like, I feel like the whole, Gordon, it is Gordon's fault. Gordon brought that storyline or that information to us by saying that the kids saw her in bed with another man. And I don't think that's right, because it's like, I'm not saying Mia can't move on, because definitely you shouldn't stay in a relationship that you're not happy with. But when there are children involved, I feel like you have to take the extra precaution of making sure that like you move accordingly. And she didn't do that. Like, you got that man going on trips with y'all, doing all this stuff, when it's just like, there had to be a better way of transitioning your children into this new like era of life for them. So I get what they're saying. I definitely get what they're saying. And then you got Mia posting ink all over the internet and everything. But where they lost me a little bit is when they were like, you didn't protect your kids. And I was like, well, technically, Gordon didn't either. And I don't think they're not holding Gordon to the fire, but it's just Mia's right there. For me, I agree with them in the sense of like this like child paternity storyline, to me, shows that Mia's not protecting her son, because there was no need for this to be like a storyline. That's why I'm okay with them saying, girl, you didn't protect your kids, because now you're actually doing what I think is far worse than the kids seeing you in bed with ink. It's you actively talking about whether or not the dad that this boy has known for the past 8 years is his dad, versus your new boyfriend who you've been messing around on again, off again since you was in high school. Like, that's a lot. And we ain't gonna act like kids are not mean and malicious. So I was like, there was definitely a better way we could have did this, or this could have not been a storyline at all. But we know, like Karen said, Mia in survival mode, and she gonna do what she got to do to keep a check. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in the comments below. I was wondering where Kiarna was. Maybe she might show up next episode. But like I said, this was a decent premiere for Potomac of Thrones. Okay, decent. Hopefully they keep the momentum going. And as always, I'm out, y'all. Deuces.